Adventures. This is Kelly with the Children's Museum of Sonoma County, and in this week's art adventure we're going to learn how to make shadow puppet theaters. So you saw our supplies. We need a box, wax paper, and parchment paper is also going to work really well. Tape is going to come in really handy. Some scissors. I have some popsicle sticks. You could use any kind of stick. And then I like to use these snack boxes for just about everything, but these work really well for making our puppets. So let's take a look and see how we make this. All right, so the first step in making our shadow box theater is to make the actual box theater. There's two things that you need to do. The first one is to make sure that the sides of your box are secure. And the second thing is cut some holes in your box. So you're going to need one side to be totally open so that you can put the wax paper over it, and that's going to be what people see. And then the second part is going to be cutting a hole in the bottom so that you can stick your puppets up and do your puppet show. All right, now you can see I cut the holes in my box, and I don't know if you can tell, but sometimes cutting boxes with scissors can be a little bit challenging. If you're having a hard time, please don't be afraid to ask for help. The other thing that can be really handy if scissors just aren't cutting it is an X-Acto knife. Now X-Acto knives are very sharp, so we want to be extra careful with these. But it can be really useful for cutting in a more exact way if you're having a hard time with scissors. So I'll show you how to use that when I cut the other hole that we need, which is for the flashlight. And you're gonna wanna just cut a little hole for it on the top. And that's what's gonna give you your light to create your shadow effect. And you want it to be more in the back than in the front. So here's the hole where my puppets are gonna go. If you can imagine my hand as a puppet, that's where they'll go. This is our theater space. And up here at the top, I'm gonna use a marker to draw a circle where I need to cut with my X-Acto knife. So now we have our holes in place, the place where the flashlight's gonna go, our opening, and our opening at the bottom for our puppets. The next step is gonna be to use our parchment or wax paper in my case. You could experiment with different things if you don't have parchment paper or wax paper at your house. So I wanna make sure it can cover this front part here. And I just can tear a piece that just covers it. You could use your scissors if you want to maybe cut it so it fits a little more exact, or you can have it going over the sides. Either way it's going to work. It just depends what you want to do on the sides. If you want to maybe use some paper to cover it up, which we'll do later, then it doesn't matter if it's on the sides. But if you want to just keep your box design, in this case this awesome, I think it's an immersion hand blender, if you think that's cool, that's awesome. You can keep that going on the sides there. But I'm just going to tape it on. we have our front amazing wax paper cover on here. If you can get it relatively tight and taut, that's awesome. And so now I'm gonna decorate the sides a little bit just for fun. And I'm just gonna use a brown paper bag. You could use anything you wanted. Maybe you have some cool wrapping paper at home, or maybe some newspaper, or maybe you could paint it or do an awesome collage. There's so many different things you could do. I'm gonna keep it simple and just have a brown covering on the sides here. And I'm not gonna cover up the top here just because I don't wanna have to cut this hole again. If you wanna get more elaborate, go for it. So I have just used some tape. You could use glue to put some sides on. And I might write down the characters of my puppet show on here so that people can see it like a marquee almost. It's just one idea of something you could do. So we're pretty much done with our puppet theater now. The only thing that's left that could be a nice decoration is to put some kind of border around this area. So I'll show you how to do that just by cutting some strips of paper. So now you can see we've made this really fun border, and I created a little sign, a little marquee for mine with the name of my theater. It's called the Amazing Shadow Puppet Theater, and I wrote that there on the top. And now I'm ready for the most exciting part, I think, which is actually making your puppets. So to make your puppets, you can use some of that snack box material or just thick paper, whatever you have, some scissors to cut them out, a marker so you can draw your image of whatever your puppet shape is going to be, popsicle sticks or whatever you found at home to be your holder for your puppet, and some tape or glue to tape them on. So I drew a picture of a dog and a moon and a butterfly. Well, folks, I think we have all our pieces together. I have a flashlight. These are my puppets. Now, I didn't decorate them or anything because they're just gonna be shadows. So it doesn't matter what they look like really, except for the shape of them. And then I have my theater. So you can put the flashlight in the top. You might need to tape it down if it doesn't sit in there just right. This flashlight happens to have this little kind of bump here, so it's able to sort of sit in there, but I might decide to tape it if it starts getting too wobbly. And then we just take our puppets. Now you might need to figure out where to do this on a table. I'm just gonna hold it up to show you. Now when our puppet's far back, we can't really see it, but as you bring it forward, you can start to see it more. I think we're ready for the show. And now presenting a show from the Amazing Shadow Theater with its fine production of The Wolf and the Butterfly. One night under a crescent moon, the wolf howled. Arr! He held and held until he became a butterfly. A